What a privilege to be amongst such an illustrious group. I get to talk to the youth who is the leadership of India. You're the future of India. So now that they have hid a very boring profile with their eloquence, let me make it very clear. I'm not going to bore you with law. I'm not going to talk to you about a legal career. I'm not going to talk to you about politics. But what I am going to talk to you is about your future. So as I said, you are the future of India. मैं जानती हूँ कि मैं देश के भावी नेतृत्व से बात कर रही हूँ. मैं जानती हूँ कि एक दिन मुझे ये सौभाग्य प्राप्त होगा कि किसी दिन मैं आप लोगों में से किसी के लिए वोट डाल रही होंगी, या तो पार्लियामेंट में या लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली में. कर रही होंगी ना? Absolutely. So of course, now that we are talking about you leading from the front, because you're the youth of India, I want to talk about a watershed moment that comes in every generation, and that is related to technology. Now, मेरे parents की generation में the technology that changed, in fact changed the legal profession for sorts, for my father, was the typewriter. It was revolutionary. I know that today you will think that a typewriter is a museum piece. My generation, as in with millennials, you know what was the transformative piece of technology for us? Telecommunication revolution, especially the mobile phone. We are the generation that actually saw the shift from landlines to WLL phones, जो उठा के किसी के सिर पे भी मार सकते थे because it was the size of a brick, to actually going to using the current smartphones. As you know, the smartphones revolutionized because पूरे विश्व का सारा information, you have it in the palm of your hands. Now, you are actually at the cusp of the most transformative of all technologies. Can anybody here tell me what it is? Take a wild guess. Nobody? How about artificial intelligence? Right? Artificial intelligence is going to be the watershed moment in your generation, and that is why I want to talk to you about that, because today we are talking about transforming horizons. Now, I want to tell you about, I'm not going to bore you with what is artificial intelligence, because I know you're very aware of the technical aspects. But I do want to discuss three aspects. First, I want to talk to you about how important artificial intelligence is. Second, I'm going to talk about what are the pitfalls of it. And third, I'm going to talk about what are the expectations of you. So first, let's talk about how important artificial intelligence is. Kids, artificial intelligence is inevitable. It is a new age technology which is not standing at the threshold. वो दहलीज पे नहीं खड़ा है. Artificial intelligence हम लोगों के घर में भीतर आ गया है. For example, my speech today, I actually used ChatGPT to find out and research what are the industries and what jobs would AI make redundant. So why? Because obviously AI made my research very efficient. Something that would have taken me half an hour to search on a search engine took me just 5 minutes. And AI itself confessed that there are following areas which are going to become redundant. For example, manufacturing is already automated. Having said that, AI is going to make it even more efficient. Things like call centers. In fact, you must have already started seeing whenever you do a WhatsApp chat, you know that you're dealing with a WhatsApp bot when you're dealing with customer care services. So AI is going to make call centers and customer care representatives redundant. In my own industry, all contract drafting etc., which is template driven, जहाँ पे एक ही चीज को आप बार बार repeat करते हो, I have a feeling that is going to be taken over by AI. Sad to break it, Bhanu, I think AI is going to also take over content creation. It is already being used for of course copyright writing, but there is a new trend of having AI influencers where you have AI, these AI generated avatars who are going to use the same content but presented in a very normal way. So of course content creation is something that AI is going to talk about. Now I'm going to talk about the pitfalls of AI. And finally, I'm going to talk about what is expected of you. The pitfalls of AI, of course. As I said, I did use ChatGPT to research for my speech. But you know what I did not do? I did not make ChatGPT write my speech today. And what is the reason? Because I wanted to come to your school and make sure that I get to speak to you. I don't want an AI drowning out my voice. So use AI for actually enabling. It should become an enabler, but not, you should not have a debilitating dependency. So the first pitfall of AI is that people can actually become over dependent on it, which means there is no substitute for human originality, for human creativity. Make sure that AI makes you efficient, not lazy. It should be an enabler, not a debilitator. It should not be like, it should definitely make you efficient in terms of reducing the time that it takes for research, which means that you become more productive. But as I said, you should not have a crippling dependency on it, because there is no substitute for human creativity, for human entrepreneurship, for human skill, and for human thought. Maulic thought, original thought is something which is very, very peculiar to humans. Another pitfall of AI is obviously things like security concerns. As you know, there are many, many scams these days where people will take a sample of your voice and they will superimpose it on another piece of software or technology and use it to call your dear ones and ask them to transfer maybe a minuscule amount like 500 rupees or something like that. And it's being used for basically financial scams. So that's number 2. Number 3 is, of course, something that even our Honorable Prime Minister yesterday spoke at a media event about deep fake. Deep fake, as you know, and you must have seen it in the news, is a very, very, extremely concerning aspect where you have people misusing AI technology, taking people's faces, superimposing it on another person's video, or even creating a fake video and circulating it. Which means deep fake also ensures that there can also be mass scale spread of misinformation. So these were the pitfalls of AI. Having said that, what is expected of you, and I'm going out and saying this with a sense of responsibility, don't be afraid of this technology. Embrace it. The reason I say embrace it is because artificial intelligence is inevitable. So do not resist it. But there are certain aspects which are required of you to ensure that AI is not misused. For example, let's deal with deepfake first. Ours is a country where there is such a digital divide and digital inequality that is something that I expect of your generation to cure. I'll expand on that a little bit more. But let me first deal with deepfake. हम में और जानवरों में, मनुष्य और पशु में अंतर क्या है? विवेक का, राइट? तो जब भी कोई भी पीस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन आपके पास सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू आए, प्लीज अपने विवेक का इस्तेमाल करना मत भूलिएगा. Make sure that you don't let go of your curiosity. Make sure you don't let go of your reasoning. These two things are what make you peculiarly human. This is what makes you spectacularly human. So don't let go of your curiosity. Don't let go of your reasoning. Whatever piece of information you're getting, question it. Is this real? Or is it just being spread for the detriment of somebody else? So that is the first thing that I want from you. Number 1, embracing the technology. Number 2, questioning whatever you're receiving. Number 3, I want you to equip yourselves. I know that you are already in this fantastic school where you're being, I know that Jyoti ji is a very visionary principal. She was telling me how your school is very distinct from normal education systems. Kudos to you. But having said that, the current education system is not entirely equipped to make sure that you're ready for AI, because we are still coming out of the traditional mode of education. And that is where I want you to make sure that you actually go out and hone your skills more. Things like programming, things like data science, things like actually knowing machine learning. Indulge in that. You have the same 24 hours. You want to spend 2 hours out of your day scrolling on reels? Fine. How about those 2 hours? Can you spend 1 hour on actually consuming content that makes you better? Things like, as Bhanu was saying, about financial literacy. So similarly, make yourself digitally literate, learn new skills, and make sure that you utilize your time to equip yourself to embrace this technology. And the fourth thing that I want you to do is, and that is where the maximum responsibility comes on your shoulders. I was talking about a digital divide that exists in this world. And that means an equitable distribution of digital literacy. That responsibility comes on you. And I'm not talking about just across genders. First, let's talk about the digital divide between generations. So the responsibility is on you to ensure that अगली बार जब नानी या दादी पाठ करे और उनको ये लगे कि बेटा थोड़े बड़े मोटे अक्षरों वाली रामायण लाके दे दे, अरे आईपैड पे दिखा दो ना, उनको बोलो दादी इससे करो ना पाठ, बड़ा करके खुद ही आ जाएगा, उसको भी लगेगा चश्मे का नंबर गिर गया. The second thing is making sure, so the generation, your grandparents' generation, your parents' generation, your father, your mother, make sure that they get involved in the technology. अगली बार जब पापा अगर बोले कि नया फोन चलाना सिखा दो तो खींचना मत, तुम्हारी उंगली पकड़ के चलना उन्होंने ही सिखाया है तुम्हें. And now we are talking about equitable distribution of digital literacy across communities. You all have those didis and bhaiyas who actually make your life easy. People who drive you to school, people who make sure that your breakfast is on time, people who are actually enablers of your life. Please ensure that this digital inequality is actually non-existent and bridged through your efforts. And lastly, as I said, most important, be your own moral compass. Make sure that you embrace this technology with your own sanskar, with your own ethics. Education जितनी important है, उतने ही ज़्यादा महत्वपूर्ण होते हैं संस्कार. Today, if you get, let's say, a video which is hilarious, but which might hurt somebody else's sentiment, before you actually spread it and show it to somebody else, question, if the same thing was being done against you, would you like it? If the answer is no, then please don't share that content. Put an end to it. Because you know what? The ethical stoppage to all of this begins with people like you and me. Thank you very much for your time. I'm very grateful.